MSG Sphere. In September 2023, a glowing ball appeared on the Las Vegas skyline that had no obvious explanation the first time you saw it. The MSG Sphere is 366 feet tall and 516 feet wide. Its exterior is covered in 1.2 million LED pucks, each containing 48 diodes capable of 256 million color combinations. At full output, it displays moving images visible miles away at a resolution sharp enough to read text. It does not look like a screen, it looks like a planet that has been placed on the edge of the strip. Inside, a 160,000 square foot wraparound LED dome covers the entire ceiling and walls above the audience. There are 170,000 speakers, one targeting every individual seat. People who attended the opening U2 shows described it as genuinely disorienting, the way a flight simulator is disorienting, not a cinema. It cost $2.3 billion. The original estimate was $1.2 billion. It is the most expensive entertainment venue in Las Vegas history, currently operating at a loss, carrying nearly $850 million in debt. Whether it becomes a permanent landmark or an extraordinary financial miscalculation is still being decided. Ocean Dome. In 1993, Japan built an indoor beach designed to replace the real ocean. The Sigaya Ocean Dome in Miyazaki was 300 meters long and 100 meters wide. Inside, a beach made from 600 tons of crushed stone, a pool 6 times larger than an Olympic swimming pool kept at 28 degrees, a wave machine with 200 variations, a fake volcano erupting every 15 minutes, and a retractable roof projecting an artificial blue sky. The air temperature never changed. The season never changed. For 1.25 million visitors in 1995 alone, it worked exactly as advertised. There is one detail that is difficult to process. The real ocean was 300 meters from the entrance. It cost $1.8 billion to build and lost $250 million every year it operated. By 2001, the company was $4 billion in debt. The dome closed in 2007 and was demolished in 2017. A building that recreated the ocean at extraordinary expense, 3 minutes walk from the actual ocean, could not survive on novelty alone. Palm Islands. Dubai ran out of coastline. The solution was to build more. The Palm Jumeirah is an artificial island made entirely from sand. 100 million cubic meters of it, dredged from the Persian Gulf floor and sprayed into position by GPS-guided equipment to within centimeters of the target. No concrete foundation, no steel frame. Just compressed sand, shaped into a palm tree, visible from orbit. The engineering problems came immediately. The breakwater sealed the water inside the palm branches so completely that it stopped circulating and went stagnant. Engineers had to cut gaps in the outer ring to restore tidal flow, a redesign of a structure already built. The sand beneath was so loosely packed that an earthquake could cause liquefaction, the ground converting from solid to liquid. 15 compaction machines worked continuously to stabilize it to 12 meters depth. The island is currently sinking at 5 millimeters per year. Despite all of it, people live there. The idea that you can build land where none exists, using sand and GPS and enough money, and that people will move there, that turned out to be correct. Sanji UFO houses. In 1978, a developer in northern Taiwan began building a coastal resort made entirely of pod-shaped structures. Circular, elevated on columns, stacked in clusters, painted in vivid colors. They looked exactly like flying saucers that had landed on the beach. The target market was wealthy tourists and American military officers. Construction stopped in 1980. Nobody ever stayed in them. During construction, workers died in a series of accidents on the access road. Locals believe the deaths were caused by the demolition of a Chinese dragon statue at the resort entrance, destroyed to widen the road. The belief that the site was cursed spread. Workers refused to return. Investment dried up. The project was abandoned half-finished. The pod sat decaying on the beach for nearly 30 years. Engineers who examined them later concluded the fiberglass structures would not survive a major earthquake. Demolition began in 2008 despite petitions to save at least one as a museum. By 2010, the site was cleared. They are known today entirely from photographs. A resort that looked like the future and became a ghost town before it ever opened. The Interlace. Every apartment building in Singapore is a tower. Land is scarce, the population is dense, and towers are the obvious answer. Architect Ole Sheeran designed the exact opposite. The Interlace is 31 apartment blocks, each 6 stories tall and 70 meters long, stacked horizontally across each other at angles in a hexagonal arrangement, like an enormous game of Jenga that has been frozen mid-collapse. From the outside, it appears to be on the verge of falling in 8 directions at once. The overlapping blocks create 8 open courtyards between them, gardens, pools, running paths, terraces, spread across 170,000 square meters. A high-density development that does not feel dense. In 2015, it was named World Building of the Year. The building that looked like it shouldn't work was judged the best building on Earth that year. The Big Hole. In 1871, diamonds were found in a hill in South Africa. Within months, 50,000 people had arrived with picks and shovels, and they dug until the hill was gone. What replaced it was the largest hole ever excavated by hand, 463 meters wide and 240 meters deep, cut entirely without machinery over 43 years. Mining accidents, disease, and the conditions of the work killed thousands. By the time the mine closed in 1914, 22.5 million tons of earth had been removed. The total yield was 2,722 kilograms of diamonds. After it closed, the hole was used as a rubbish dump. Then groundwater seeped in. Today, the bottom 40 meters are underwater. A lake nobody planned for, at the bottom of a hole nobody intended to leave. You can stand at the rim and look down into green water and not see the bottom, and understand dimly what 50,000 people with shovels can do when they believe something is worth finding. Beilong Elevator. The Zhangjiajie National Forest Park in China contains more than 3,000 sandstone pillars rising from the forest floor. Here vertical, flat-topped, some over 200 meters tall. They look fictional. James Cameron used photographs of them as reference for the floating mountains in Avatar. To reach the top of one without a 2-hour climb, engineers built an elevator directly into the cliff face. Beilong Elevator rises 326 meters. The first half through a shaft bored inside the rock itself, the second half exposed on the cliff face in steel and glass bolted to the stone. The journey takes 92 seconds. At the top, the doors open onto a landscape that looks designed for a film. It opened in 2002 and was shut down 3 months later over safety concerns and environmental objections. Demolition was discussed. After 10 months of debate, it reopened, was certified by Guinness as the world's tallest outdoor elevator in 2015, and now carries 7,000 people per day. The argument about whether it should exist never fully ended. It made an unreachable landscape reachable. It also permanently altered the cliff it was built into. Both are true. Forest City. In 2016, a Chinese developer announced a $100 billion city on artificial islands off the southern coast of Malaysia. Forest City was designed for 700,000 residents. Green buildings, rooftop parks, smart infrastructure, conceived entirely from scratch as a model of what a city could be. Today, approximately 9,000 people live there. The project was aimed almost entirely at Chinese buyers. It sold well for 2 years. Then in 2017, the Chinese government restricted overseas property purchases, cutting off the entire customer base overnight. Shops closed, restaurants closed, the streets built for hundreds of thousands emptied. Journalists who visited found one tower of 390 apartments, where only 25 showed signs of life. Doors opened to the touch. Dead leaves had blown into rooms through windows left ajar. Notices for residents' meetings from 2022 were still taped to doors in buildings where nobody had been for months. A city built for 700,000, occupied by 9,000. You can construct everything a city needs except the one thing that makes it one: Dragon Bridge. Most bridges are built to cross a river. The Dragon Bridge in Da Nang, Vietnam, was built to be a dragon crossing a river. It is 666 meters long, 6 lanes wide, and its entire length is the body of a dragon modeled on the stylized dragons of Vietnam's Lai dynasty from the 11th and 12th centuries. Gold in color. At night, 2,500 LED lights run its length. On Saturday and Sunday evenings at 9 p.m., the dragon's head breathes fire, 9 bursts, followed by 3 minutes of water. People line the riverbank to watch. It opened on March 29, 2013, the date chosen deliberately to mark the 38th anniversary of the liberation of Da Nang at the end of the Vietnam War. It cost $85 million and functions as a working 6-lane road used by thousands of vehicles daily. It is the only bridge in the world that breathes fire. Longaberger Basket Building. 1997, Dave Longaberger walked into a meeting with his architects, placed one of his company's picnic baskets on the table, and said, "This is what I want the headquarters to look like." The architects advised against it. He told them to find someone else if they couldn't do it. They built it. The Longaberger Basket Building in Newark, Ohio, is a 7-story office building constructed as an exact replica of the company's medium market basket at 160 times the actual size. Woven exterior walls, 2 handles arching over the roof, each handle weighing 150 tons and fitted with internal heating to prevent ice formation in winter. It made sense at the time. By 2000, the Longaberger Company had $1 billion in annual revenue and 8,200 employees. The basket building was confidence made physical, a company so certain of itself that it built its own product at the scale of a landmark. Dave Longaberger died in 1999. Sales declined as online shopping replaced the direct sales model the company depended on. By 2016, when they vacated the building, fewer than 75 employees remained. The company filed for bankruptcy in 2018. The Basket building sold for $1.2 million, less than the price of a suburban house, and now sits waiting to be converted into a hotel. When the building held a public tour day in 2019, 600 people showed up. Some drove 4 hours. They stood in the lobby of a basket-shaped building in rural Ohio and wept. Whether they were grieving the company or the era it belonged to, or simply the specific human conviction it takes to build a 7-story picnic basket and mean it seriously, that is harder to say.